Hi, I'm back. I'll be reading I'll be reading from the NIV, the Adventure Bible. Okay, the Adventure Bible. Okay, and I'll be reading for Genesis chapter 1. Genesis. Who wrote this book? There was some debate about who wrote Genesis. However, many scholars believe Moses wrote it. Why was this book written? Genesis tells how God created the universe. Genesis tells how God created the universe and human beings. It also covers it also covers the special promises God made to Abraham. What do we learn about God? In this book, God created all things. He loves people, but he will punish sin. God promises, however, to save people who trust him. What people are important in this book? Important people in this book are Adam and Eve, Noah, Noah, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebecca, Jacob and Rachel and Joseph. When did this happen? No one knows when the creation or the flood occurred. Abraham was born about 2150 BC. His great grandson Joseph died about 1800 BC. Where did this happen? Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 11 happened in Mesopotamia. Genesis chapter 12 through 36 took place in Canaan, which is also called the Promised Land. The rest of Genesis took place in Egypt. What are some other stories in this book? God created the universe. Genesis chapter 1. God creates Adam and Eve. Genesis chapter 2. Adam and Eve sin. Genesis chapter 3. Noah builds an ark. Genesis chapter 6. God sends a flood to punish sin. Genesis chapter 7 and chapter 8. God gives promises to Abraham. Genesis chapter 12. Abraham prays for a city. Genesis chapter 18. Jacob steals Esau's blessing. Genesis chapter 27. Jacob's name is changed. Genesis chapter 32. Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery. Genesis chapter 37. Joseph becomes a ruler. Genesis chapter 39 to chapter 41. Genesis chapter 1. The beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the expanse and separated the water under the expanse from the water. above it, and it was so. God called the expanse sky. And there was evening, and there was morning the second day. And God said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it, according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky, to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the fourth day. And God said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth, across the expanse of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living and moving thing with which the water teems, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them and said, be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning the fifth day. And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, and livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds, and to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. The sixth day. Words to treasure. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Did you know? What does create mean? What does create mean? What does create mean? Chapter 1, verse 1. The Bible word create means to make or to begin something new. God did just that when he created the universe. Genesis tells us that God created everything. If you read Genesis chapter 1, you will find many things that God created. That God created. Let's live it. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to verse 27. You are special. Read Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to read Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to verse 27. God made you in his own image. You are not like the other creatures God made. Humans are the only creatures that God created in his own image or likeness. That doesn't mean that you look like God, or that you are equal to God. But it does mean that you are his very special creation. Look at pictures of your mom or dad when they were your age. How were they like you? How were they different? How were they different? Your parents love you very much because you are their child, and you are like them in important ways. Ask your mom or dad to tell you why they think you are special. God loves you very much because you are his child, and is one of a kind special creation, made in his own image, but still your very own person. Write a letter to God, thanking him for adopting you as his son or daughter, or daughter, or daughter, for creating you in his image, and for loving you so very much. So very much. Okay, that's all for Genesis chapter 1,